Hello everyone, welcome to the first video of 1033.1 ARC Hailstorms FTC training series. So today we're going to be starting from absolute zero and we're going to learn how to create a sketch and we're going to CAD together this emoji of a cat. So first things first, our ARC Andover Robotics Club uses Onshape to CAD, and some of the benefits of using Onshape is 1, it's free for students to use. 2, you can run it on your browser so you don't need to download anything. And 3 is that you can collaboratively edit on the same file, so multiple people can be making edits to the robot at one time, which is really helpful. So right now we're just gonna get started. So we're gonna create and then we're gonna click document. This is the main menu. And so we can name our document cat emoji practice. Okay, so now that we have opened up our file, we can see that there are some rectangle looking things on our screen. So these are called planes. And so there's 3 planes. There's front, top, and right. So it would be when you're looking at this, when you're thinking about this in space, front is like you're looking at your object head on, and then top is like you're looking at it from above, and then right is a side view. So since we're making this cat and it's sort of like a 2D, we're just gonna be working on the front plane for today. So we can go to our front plane here. Okay, so first things first, we need to make a sketch. So we click this sketch button here, and then we click the plane that we want it in. So we want it in the front plane. Okay, perfect. Now that we have our sketch, you can see that there are all these tools here. So there are a lot of different tools that you can use in Onshape, but today we're going to get started with some of the most basic ones. So there's line. We're going to work with a circle and an ellipse. We're going to work with construction, we're going to work with mirror, and we're going to work with dimension. Okay, so to get started, we can make like the head of this cat. So we can do that using a circle. So we're going to click center point circle, which means you can also do 3-point circle. But if you click center point circle, that's going to be a little bit more easier because we can make the center of the circle the origin, and you kind of want to make your CADs in Onshape centered about the origin, and that's just going to help. It's going to make it easier for you to make everything symmetrical. Okay, so let's make our circle, and it gives you the dimension, but we can worry about that a little bit later. Okay, perfect. So now we have our head, but now I want to make the ears. So let's do that using the line feature. So we're just going to make 2 points to make our line, and then we'll do another one for the other side of the ear. Okay, perfect. All right, so now we have our head and our ear, but we want to make another ear on the other side. So instead of sort of like copy pasting them or like moving them around, what we're gonna do is we're gonna mirror them. But to mirror, you need to have a line on which you want to mirror it from. So since we have our plane line, we could we have our right plane line here, so we could use that to mirror. But instead, I want to try and use the construction feature. So the construction feature lets you draw things sort of as a guide instead of like a solid part of our sketch. So if you click construction and then line, and then we can make our center line here. You can see how it makes it sort of dashed and dotted, which means that it's not actually part of the sketch, but when we're on the sketch, we can still see it. And it gives us sort of a guide. Okay, so now we can mirror. So we click our line that we just made, and then click the entities you want to mirror. Okay, perfect. Now we have 2 symmetrical ears. Okay, so now that we have the head and the ears, we can get started on the eyes. So as you can see, instead of a circle, like how the shape of our head was. The eyes are more ellipse-like, so we can make an ellipse by clicking on this drop down and then clicking ellipse. And then we can make our eye, and we have to click 3 points for an ellipse. Perfect. Okay, and now we can mirror it using the same feature that we use for the ear, and our second eye is done. Okay, perfect. So now we can make the nose here. Just a quick triangle. We can make the triangle with our lines. So now that we have our nose, we can get started on the whiskers. So one thing to keep in mind is not to make the whiskers out of lines, and actually to make them out of rectangles, because if you make it out of a line, you won't be able to make it 3D in a later step. So because we want, we can make our first rectangle here for the middle whisker. And then because we want the other whiskers to be sort of angled, we can make them aligned rectangles. So just like this. And then the same down here. So now that we have all three of our whiskers, we can go ahead and mirror them just like what we did previously. So we select our line and then our entities. Okay, perfect. So there we go. Now we have our full cat. Congratulations, you made your first cat. Make sure to watch the next video and we can learn how to extrude it to make it a 3D shape. Thank you for watching.